the future before us is a collection of both fixed items and flexible items. That there are many more flexible things in the future and than people usually imagine. Let's say the sustenance. So people are praying for God, please give me sustenance. And in our belief, we say that all sustenance is coming from God, and that the sustenance is also fixed. But it could be fixed with some possibilities. It's this way if the person pursues this, but this way if the person pursues another route. So perhaps if the person works hard, he gets more sustenance, but he's not creating it himself or inventing it himself. He's getting that which God decreed. But God decreed perhaps less if the person didn't make effort, and more if the person did make effort. So regardless of which the person gets, he's getting that which God decreed. But he didn't have to get that. He could have gotten the other option.
Someone might say, well, how does dua change qadr if you know it's already decreed, if it's already written down? How can dua change my fortune? Quickly, there are different types of qadr. There are different types of decree. There is that which is written with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a lawh al-mahfuz, in the preserved tablet, where everything is taken into consideration. So your dua truly does affect qadr, just the same way as your eating or your drinking would extend your lifespan for another day, right? Dua is that vital. So yes, dua has that effect on your qadr. And Rasulullah ﷺ says nothing fights with qadr and changes qadr like dua and good deeds.
The dua is like a bow and arrow. The more you stretch the bow, the further the arrow is going to reach and penetrate. Isn't that right? If you make your dua sincerely from the depth of your heart, meaning it and believing that Allah will respond. There are some people, when they make dua, sometimes you really mean it. I can't explain it, but sometimes you feel like your heart's pounding heavily and you really need Allah. You're really asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially in the middle of the night when you wake up by yourself, voluntarily. I mean, why would you wake up in the middle of the night just to make dua? Unless you really mean it. Who's going to get out? Who's going to get out of their blanket from the warmth and cuddliness of the bed and make wudu and wake yourself up and ask Allah in the middle of the night at 2-3 o'clock in the morning? Unless you really mean your dua. The more you mean it, the further your dua is going to reach. And so here the Prophet ﷺ says now, he says, the qadr will be coming down from the skies, from the heavens. Qadr is what's going to happen to you. For example, you're going to get sick. The qadr comes down, that you're going to get sick. Your dua goes up. It's in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Your dua goes up. And it meets the qadr halfway between the heavens and the earth. If the dua is stronger than the qadr, it fights it off. And there is no qadr, bad qadr there. If the dua is equal with the qadr, then the Prophet ﷺ says, يَتَصَارَعَانِ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. They will wrestle until the last hour. And the qadr will not come to you, nor will the dua fight it away. And if the dua is weak, the qadr will reach you, but weaker than it was before. This is why the Prophet ﷺ used to say in the dua, Allahumma hdina fiman hadayt, wa afina fiman afayt, wa tawallana fiman tawallayt, wa barik lana fima a'tayt, wasrif waqina wasrif anna sharra ma qadayt. He says, oh Allah, guide us to the right path, and so on, until he reaches the point where he says, and prevent the bad things of which you have preordained upon us.
Which means the dua will overcome the decree also by the leave of Allah. It is not because your dua is more powerful than the decree of Allah, but your dua was also decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If this person was to invoke me, then this calamity is waived, or this test is suspended. So it is also a decree that is decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Now, the imagery here gives us the idea that if the dua of the servant is strong, then that dua will send back the decree of God. So it's not really changing the decree, but it's replacing one decree of God with another decree of God, both of which were within the possibilities that God created in the first place.
And so Imam an-Nawawi rahimahullah said we can derive from that as well that sometimes there are people that were meant to live a longer time, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reduces their lifespan because of their sins. Your good deeds can be a means of extension of your life, and your bad deeds can be a means of cutting it short. So do not underestimate the power of your dua. Really, subhanAllah, we just released that video today talking about Gaza and talking about the things that go around the world. Your dua is the greatest tool of personal and societal change. It's the greatest tool that you have.
So about dua, just one quick comment, inshallah. Just the ayat of Ramadan itself. In the ayat of Ramadan, إذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي. The famous ayah, I've talked a long time about this ayah. Whenever the slave asks, anybody who makes dua asks about me, then let them know. Then immediately Allah mentions, no doubt about it, I am near. But the part I wanted to highlight to you is ujibu da'wat ad-da'i. I respond to the call of any or every single one that makes the call at the very time that they make the call.
At that moment when we raise our hands, we must believe that what we say can change our lives, and it can change our destiny. That we can become creators of the experiences of our lives, and we can enhance our spiritual, physical, and intellectual power in this moment. At this point, we become educators towards ourselves, because those things that we ask for in life will teach us values and lessons as they have come with the blessing of Allah. It is necessary for you to believe that you can change your life. You have to keep holding on to the things that you ask for. You must believe that it will come true and put your trust in faith and leave it off with fear. Because fear will never make things happen. And we must remember that patience is the greatest asset that we can possess. Patience in our faith and patience in our destiny. But at the same time, we must run out in faith and pursue our destiny. Have patience in the destiny that you desire to create. I am telling you that doing dua is powerful beyond measure. It's incomprehensible. Why? Because you matter. You matter. And what you say and ask from Allah truly matters. Allah has created you with a specific purpose, a specific design. You were fashioned and manufactured. You were brought into this life. How can you deny that you do not have a purpose?